Welcome back to SOS. I'm SSGTBADASS, and today I have something really cool I'm going to share. I'm knocking my camera. It's like everything's gonna fall over. Yeah, one knife, one life, one life, one knife. Tops knives, Tops. You're probably wondering what's in this big box. It's very huge. It's 100%. It's 101% made in the USA. You like that? You want me to open it now? I'm sorry. I'm taking too long. Let me pull you over here so you can take a look. I know. Should I just pull it out like this? It's like, oh, you big jerk. See? Made in the USA. This thing out of this plastic bag. Comes with oil. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm taking too long. Check it out. Yeah, that's the sheath that comes in. But you know what I'm about to do. I'm going to change that. But let's just look at the knife. This bad boy, right? This thing. We have there's different versions of this. This is the SXB EJ Snyder. It's a SKULLCRUSHER. And the SKULLCRUSHER is kind of like, you guys have probably seen on the channel, I've done so many different, so many of the different hunter trackers. That's right, hunter trackers. Like, movie style stuff and things people actually use for bushcraft purposes. This goes into a special forces category. And you have your crazy, wild, very insane saw back here. You have a good section here for doing your draw blade action if you need to. I mean, you're talking about busting some heads with this thing. This thing is insane. Everything about it is pretty awesome. Now, I have to make something to carry it around with. I know everybody's like, it's freaking, you could baton with it. Look at this. You can freaking cut a path through the woods with this thing. Whack. Anyways, flip it around. Picture somebody carrying it like this. Just don't carry it like this. It might drag and hang on something. You want to make sure that if you wear it, you want to wear it like this, or just go behind your back with it. Haven't decided. I don't know what to do. I'm sitting here like, what am I going to do? Like, how am I supposed to make a sheath for something like this? It's very nice. I just want to swing it around. But yeah, how do you make a sheath for something like this? It's really huge. You've got this wide section here. I like to talk about these things because somebody wants to know. You've got this wide section here, and most of these videos when I'm doing leathercraft, I just get going, and most people expect that when they click on these, they go, "Hey, look, he's just going to get going," and then music kicks in and everything. You've got this section here that drops. You could do a sheath where your blade basically you leave the back open. You only leave a section here to hold it. You leave the back open, and then you have some snaps, and then you pull the blade out like this. Or you could kind of like how this thing's done. It's got a nice wide section here, and see how it goes in, and then you've got plenty of room. But the only downside is kind of a little bit of wiggle before you go in, but that's not a big deal. Or, there's so many different ways of doing it. And I like how I do the trackers. I know everybody likes how I do the tracker knives. And with the trackers, I usually do scout carry behind the back, and I put a bunch of crazy stuff on it. I haven't decided. I still don't know. I don't know what to do with this thing. I guess I better get started. Clock's ticking. I better get going. If you want a knife like this, go to Tops Knives. I'll have a link below, and go check them out. Let's get going. stop the video and talk for a minute because I was told by a friend that I need to show more of this, what am I putting in it kind of thing. Now, every time I do these, I make a full-scale survival kit that has like all this cool stuff in it. And I usually don't even show that part. I just skip right through that and just go straight to, we're just making a knife sheet today. But, this has got magnesium in it. Now I just need to get, it's like a wick. And if you can get this just right, I'm probably going to screw this all up. You know, let's soak up all that. I know, it's a big mess. Anyways, this is your wick. And this type of system here, they've got it where you can close it off. You can do this. This is the plan here, is what you're supposed to do with it. I don't want to scrape that one up. It's a hex. It's the hex one I'm probably going to use with this. Let's just go ahead and break that off. I don't want to tear that one up. I might use it with this one. I don't know. I might just paint that one and use that. That's usually what I do. But in this case, you're going to take your, if you can throw your fire correctly. There it goes. Now you got your thing going. Now that'll stay going. So let's pop. It's got magnesium around this thing here, and I had a little trouble with it at first, but that'll burn for as long as this wick. Now I've got several of these wicks, so I'm probably going to pack them up. But I just think that's kind of neat. You got wet conditions or something. You've got magnesium. You've got your ferro rod, and you can close it off, and that just turns it off right there. And you know, you can just change out another one of these if you need to. There's more, and I usually don't do like, there's like candy and bandages and ointment and compass, and you got a way to check to see what your temperature is there. And I like that because it's a nice simple little thing, and it's accomplished. It actually works. This glows in the dark, so that comes in handy for certain things. So I got a whole bunch of these. I just don't know how much I'm going to do. I think I'm going to go with this black tin, and I've got to make a mold for it. So what you do is you get the material wet and you lay it over the top of it, press it real tight, and it'll make a perfect mold. And then you just stitch that onto your project. And we, of course, make some room for snaps and stuff. You'll see along the way. That's what I always have to do. And then you got to make room for all your other snaps. You got to think like 10 miles ahead. You can't just get going into it and expect it all to turn out right. Otherwise, you're going to end up boxing yourself in a corner when you're making these projects. These projects usually take a lot longer than what the videos are. All right. So I'm probably going to clean this one up and just keep using that one. I'll clean that up and just keep it covered. And then I'll put it with my kit. And then this here, I don't need all this, but I might pack it just in case. This is jute. Those of you that need to know. It's jute cord. And looks like it might have been dipped in beeswax. So it's got beautiful beeswax. You can split this open, tear it all to pieces. Now you could go with something else. You don't have to use that. There's a couple of good ones out there on the market. You've got your Bushcraft. This is Bigfoot Bushcraft. This one, his little kit right here comes with a ferro rod too. You can find those guys on Amazon all the time. These guys are on there too. That I've shown a lot of their stuff here on the channel. You can do this is a commando saw, so camp saw, whatever. It's just a little commando saw. You want to kind of throw something like that in there, you know what I mean? Keep it in its packaging and do something like this. Probably do some water tabs or something. I know there's going to be plenty of room in there. Like I said, there's so much stuff you could add. These are really nice. I like these. They're like waxed. It's a fire tinder, and you can rip them up into little pieces. I always show these. This is your Spartan fire. I know it's kind of old school for some of you guys out there that probably don't remember that. Just in case, you know, redundancy is key, right? So you just kind of cut off a little piece, and that could be like a little seal, you know, in there. So you can do something like that. I know it's supposed to make a knife sheet, but I do show a little bit more this time. And you could do a sewing kit. You could use Kevlar. This one's Kevlar thread. That stuff's, try breaking that. You can use those as freaking snare wire. Kevlar is so cool. It's very, very light. You could throw a sewing kit in there. This is just a good example. Some strike anywhere matches would be cool. You could do that, you know, some strike anywhere matches. Or you could just do, you know, some actual underwater matches. Aqua tabs, and get yourself, you know, some kind of portable water source, you know, portable water container you can carry with you. You can't, you know, you can't attach that to the sheath, but you could. It'll look ridiculous, but some things you just kind of gotta say, hey, you know, there's a limit to the madness here, so you want to put in some of those. Make sure you got plenty of those. And then you've got, you know, you got your magnesium. So say you don't want to sit here and do this the whole time, you could just take a few of these capsules. You break them open, it's just magnesium inside. They'll burn a hole through a 2x4, just one of these. So it's always really cool to have another good thing to throw in there. But, you know, you just kind of organize it how you see fit. What do you think you're going to use? Nothing too small and dinky you're going to lose in the field when you're out there, because you could be opening this up and get frustrated and lose half your crap. But I just wanted to share. Now I got to get finished with that. I got to start making the rest of this stuff. So I've got this all figured out. I figured I'd stop one last time. Let's just make a Ranger band. Tire inner tube, bike inner tube. Make a big fat one. Make yourself some fat ones. It'll be cool. You can press all your homies. Everybody be like, yo, check out this crazy fool. All right. Get on there. Get on there. Sorry if I'm taking too long. I'm not trying to make a long video, but, you know. Appreciate it if you liked and shared. It'd be kind of cool. All right. See there? Now you could take this, and if you wear blue jeans on your adventure, see how cool that looks? See how nice that is? See, now if you wear like blue jeans on your adventure, you could put blue jean cut off inside there, throw that in your fire, and make yourself some char cloth. Yeah, turns out perfect every time. It's got plenty of vent space. You don't need to poke any holes in it. Kind of like this one here. It's got vent holes in the back. I did a video on that. You can check out how to make char cloth. That stuff's awesome. Anyway, moving on. Making a ferro rod handle for out of fat wood. We use this for fire tinder. It's great. The pine on a tree, when it gets scarred, damaged, it'll start to develop this sappiness because it's trying to heal that section or seal it off. And you left with this nice fat wood. You can find this in the woods pretty much anywhere there's a pine tree nearby. So this guy here, I'm leaving it like this until I get my hole drilled. You want to drill your hole and then get your ferro rod seated and then start working with the outskirts. Don't start chopping and stuff because you could end up with a mess. Usually doesn't turn out right. That's how I do it. I leave it like this. I just cut this off a big fat section of my fat wood, and you know what I mean. This is over here drying. I'll be back to that in a sec. A little bit of wood glue and let it dry. You can see why I went into this one and it started to form a crack on the other side. So see what I mean? Don't start chiseling until you know where your hole's going to be, because usually when I start focusing on one, it ends up with a crack and it'll just fall off. So one piece was weaker and I needed to stick with this side. So I got that glued. I know it's too much glue. Someone's complaining already. It's all right. I'll clean that up. It'll look perfect. Perfect. Now my idea for this, I went ahead and dyed it. Just did a tan, saddle tan. I like how it does the natural kind of darker spots and lighter spots. That's going to be an insert. I've got to make a blade stop inside here to keep the blade from cutting into stitches. So you just cut from another piece of material, the same exact diameter, and then cut out where your blade's going to go. And then you'll be left with this nice strip in here. And that's all you got to do. And you just sandwich it up and you can stitch it up. Well, I've got more work to do. I've got a nice brass ring. I think I left it in my truck. But I've got a nice brass ring I picked up at the tractor store. I could put right here and do my drop down. That's where you get those things. If you're looking for them, I always go to a tractor supply where they have horse rings and stuff like that. You can get the big, hefty brass rings. They're really cool. They're only like $1.50. So here I went with this Pirates of the Caribbean kind of thing. It's not Pirates of the Caribbean. kind of did a little bit of here and there, but this is called the Death Compass, and it's kind of I just kind of made the funky skull kind of how somebody would have, like indigenous would have done. You know, they wouldn't have drawn this perfect drawn out skull. So I did this kind of, you guys have seen some of my art. It actually worked. It looks out pretty good, but I'm sure that's fine. But I kind of went with that because this is the Skull Crusher. Since it's the Skull Crusher, kind of figured, you know, Death Skull, it's a Death Compass. Instead of doing a Viking compass like sometimes I do, I figured I would go because it's kind of like some of the other artwork that I kind of just throw up on the wall here, like the leaf and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then over here, you know, I've got all kinds of crazy stuff. A lot of people like the Punisher. That's the Tops Punisher that I did. I did a video on that. And then that's a lot of people's favorite is the Tracker that I did, which I have several of those. Anyways, I'm always doing, well, I still like the Have a Nice Night. I'll never get over that one. That's hilarious that I did that. Which I love that with the folding bayonet. I was thinking more along the lines of Zombie Apocalypse or something. Sorry if this video is a little bit longer than normal. I just, I don't know. I've just been in one of these moods lately where I just kind of want to show a little bit more and talk a little bit more. All right. Now, so there's that. I went sideways. I was going to go up and down, but I like that better. I'm going to be doing snaps over the top. I think that's going to look cool once it all comes out in the wash. And just for poops and giggles and poops, I'm going to I want to do a scout carry also. So it's going to kind of go between that. That'll be in the mix. There's a lot going on, and I have to plan it carefully or it's going to screw it all up. These are kind of more advanced projects for some of you out there. It's not something you can just jump right into. It's kind of like making the shotgun kukri. That was really hard to plan out because I had to tuck and roll each shot shell just like you would for a belt that an individual would wear with his 6-shooters and all that stuff. So I had to do the same technique for that. Anyway, I got my holes made, so I just got to get started. I got to do a snap here. I'm going to do elastic so it slings back. I'll show you that when I get to it, but I've got to get started. Guys, gals, don't judge me. All right. I had to adhesive this in place because that's going to be, when this won't even be seen, it's going to get stitched over the top and it's going to be under there. And that is to hold the ferrule rod. And before I can put this together, I'm going to have to kind of sand this nice and neat before I overlap it, because this side looks fine, but this side, every time I sandwich these together, I always have to sand this anyways, so I'll run it through the sander. There's the ring I was telling you about. It'll be facing this way. It's got snaps to go on your belt, double riveted, medium rivets. I only use large when I'm going through like 3 pieces of material. Where did I use? Yeah, these, as you were. These are large. That's right. These are the large, and these up here are the mediums. Had to do mediums for that. Anyways, and these are mediums. That's going to get stitched over. Figured it'd be best, you know, rivet and then stitch over because it's going to come together, and it's all just going to get stitched together in one big stitch. And then I have to make sure I don't have to cut off any material, because the blade will probably hit that. It may be. And if it does, I'm going to have to cut some material off. Yeah, just a little bit. But that'll keep it all nice and snug in there, so it won't get in the way. So I'll just cut off a little bit there. I guess that's about it. up here the snap. For this, I'm going to wait till I get it all put together, I think, and then do my snap afterwards. I should have plenty of room. I'm not doing it now because I want to get it put together and get all this stuff in place before I do that. I'm telling you, it's all like pieced together. You got to take your time doing this stuff or it'll get all screwed up. And then you won't like it and it won't work right. So, anyway, I've got to trim this, put my adhesion in here, get it all adhered together, and then seal her up. So that should be all nice and neat. You'll have these little, I was going to cut these sections out, and I still might just cut them out just to hold that in place. But then again, because I would just have to cut this part out, and I don't think I want to do that. But I might. We'll see. We'll see what I do in the end. Long after the thrill of living is gone. All right. This is called a fid, if you look this up. Now, I usually use this with paracord. Threads right on there. Or, I mean, if you don't want to buy a fid online, you can trim down a weapons cleaning rod into this. It does the same thing. It's threaded in that side. You're just threading it into it. This is my elastic. I'm hoping I get this right. It's been a while since I've done this, so just bear with me. Now I'm going to go through here. I want to do this first before I even attempt to put it on the sheath, because it is not easy. All right, there's that. Now let's go ahead and unthread that part. See how it just unthreads. And let's go ahead and let's cut this other side over here. And then I'll get it to where it needs to be. See there, threads. I usually have trouble doing this. Sometimes I have to burn the end. Hopefully I don't have to burn the end. It's usually pretty good about threading on. There we go, it's threaded on. Back through. That's why you need this, because you're not going to be able to get that through there without a fid. It's just not going to go. Leather's way too thick. And thread it. Now let's see what we're working with. Let's pull this in. Let's kind of put a little knot in that. It's not going to pull through. See if we can get it small enough that, get my torch over here. Go. Hopefully it doesn't get in the way. Shouldn't. Kind of turn it around like that. There we go. If you have to, you can glue that. You know what I mean? And then now you want to figure out your, you know what I mean? Get it all figured out. And then you're going to come back in. You want these knots to be small. Otherwise, it's going to take up the whole section of your sheath. And you'll be like, oh man, didn't quite work like I wanted it to. Cut. Torch it up a little bit. Ah, burnt rubber. Hey, look, in a survival scenario, that's rubber, and rubber will help you out in a dry fire. You know what I mean? Or a wet fire, as you were. Anyway, there's that. Kind of looks like this. Now I just have to, excuse that, and then put a rivet in that onto the sheath, and then I'll show you the rest. Right, now to show it function. So in there's my rivet, and, well, knots are a little bit too big. I can't fix that now, but it's all right. But anyways, snaps, and then when you get it, when you're like, ah, I need my knife, it's out of the way. Look at that. Wow. It's a really neat little trick to make your life a little bit better when you're out in the woods. Just something as simple as that. It's just a piece of bungee. You know, you can get this from any bungee straps from the store, dollar store, whatever. Anyways, but there's your snap. Boom. And let me just go ahead and grab the knife, and let's just go ahead and fit it. It's pretty dusty now with all this work going on. It's a big knife, man. All right, let's go ahead and slide her home. except top deck up here. I should have trimmed that a little bit better, but fits perfect. It's a really huge knife. And just snap in place. There's your lanyard and everything. It kind of stays out of the way. And you can clip it. I designed this to put onto here. So if you're doing scout carry, you can kind of have it like this. And your belt will go here. And this won't be like flopping all over the place. That's why I did the snaps like that. So you can just sort of lace it through this. And it keeps it from going everywhere. So that's kind of cool. But anyways, let's try it out. Boom, it's out of the way. Knife's there. Pretty nice, huh? That's cool. I'm digging it. This thing's probably one of the coolest I've ever made. Just like function wise. I put a lot of thought into it because I've done so many of these that I wanted to put these snaps. I got tired of trying to wiggle out the tin from the top, so I wanted to go side. And I didn't want a big flap. That's just weight rise. It just kind of gets in the way. And then I wanted to have a nice place to put my ferrule rod, which I already customized up. And when I have to sheen this thing, I'm going to put sheen all over this. But I went ahead and got there's a striker, and then your compass, a really good high quality compass, nothing garbage. Pace counter, because that way you can count your pace, and your compass is all in one thing. So when you're not making fires, you can use this to hike your trail and get accurate, steps. Your ferrule rod will go right in here. Now I also made this so I could kind of do something with this. I made this gap here so that I could kind of do something about all this craziness going on and kind of do that. And I made a hole through here. You could do this, kind of bring it like that. That way it kind of lays in the front, and then you can kind of, I don't think I made that wide enough, but one way or another you can get. I know it sounds crazy to do all this, but it's just to keep all your stuff organized. But anyway, so you can just slip it through there like that, I guess. And then as you bring it kind of starts to put it all together so it doesn't go anywhere. I made it like that so it would just kind of tuck everything in, and when you're not using it. And there's also room in here. You can shove it in here if you need to. You can bring it around, just shove it in there. That's another option for you. But it just looks nice right there in the front, especially if you're going to be kind of wearing it on your belt. It just kind of makes it look a little bit nicer. I wanted to do some lanyard holes down here and do some paracord and stuff to do a tie for a leg. I'll have to do it way down here. I'll have to just make a hole to put my lanyard to tie to your leg so it's not moving around. You can't go up too high because you're going to interfere with the blade, and the blade's just going to cut the paracord. So I don't use Titan survival cord anymore. Those people are jerks. I actually talked to them. They sound like a bunch of little kids. They're very sensitive. So I decided to drop Titan survival cord, and I've went with other brands because there's 4 other brands out there that you can go with. Just whatever you do, if you're doing paracord, don't do Titan survival cord. Those guys are jerks. All right, I'm moving on. This is drying. I want to make sure I bring some paracord with me anytime I go on any little adventure. You just go over and through. I do this. It's like a sailor's shipboard wrap. You'll find this on a lot of the railing inside of a ship, but this is how you do it, and it'll spiral all the way around. Just go over. It makes it look nice. It's very professional. Once it's done, it'll look very militant with the wrap. I like how it turns out. You can do it another way too. I've got it set up to do it the other way. All I have to do is pull this. I take the longest strand down here, and that's the one that I would go through. But I can just pull this, and it'll pull that one, and it'll suck it right into it once I'm done. That's part of my plan. I gave away my secrets. But hey, the more you watch, the more you learn, right? And then you can make your own crazy stuff. Anyway, see, it's starting to just sort of spins all the way around, and it'll go all the way around like a big spiral. Just keep that up. What it'll look like when you're done. Nice, cool, crazy wrap. Like I said, you could take this end here. I'm going to use this part from I believe it's this one. Let me pull. I'm going to make sure which one it is real quick. I think you just pull. Just give it. There it is. Yep. And you take this. It's an interesting little trick. You got to set this up in advance or it won't work. Another crazy paracord trick for you. Anyway, find your nice little spot you want to go in. I think right about there is good. And then just pull that. And pull that. Just something I do. Not everybody's going to do what I do, right? But that's a really cool trick. And then I'll be able to attach that in here. When it's probably going to be right over here. I'm not sure which side I'm going to go on, but I want to bring paracord with me. I've always done that. So it's just cordage is like on your like threes for like what to take with you. Cordage is one of the main ones, not just water and food and all that stuff. Cordage is so hard to get and to make yourself when you're out. It's just truth. All right, there it is, guys. All finished. I did over here a Ranger band. That's just bicycle inner tube. You just cut it and wrap it. I did that so it wouldn't clank or anything. But there it is, all set up. That hexagon ferrule rod looks really cool in there. I like how it turned out. It's very cool. It's very piratey, and you've got your Death Compass logo. It's pretty cool. And with your SKULLCRUSHER. The SKULLCRUSHER is an amazing blade. You want to talk about being able to do pretty much anything. This knife can do anything, from sawing, chopping, splitting. You can do so many different things with it. So it's kind of like a tracker, but just a little bit bigger. And you have your glass breaker down here. I mean, any kind of breaker right there. I was going to put a lanyard on that. I haven't gotten around to it yet. I probably will later. There's your leg tie down right there. You just undo this and pull and it'll unravel. That's the way I've got it set up. Because I might not tie it to my leg. I just let it kind of swing. It's not a big deal. Anyways, I like how it turned out. Hopefully you liked it too, and hopefully you get some great ideas. I don't care how long the video is. I did that on purpose. I just wanted you guys to see more of what I'm doing and what I'm packing in my kits. So you get some ideas to put full-scale survival stuff. I guess this can survive World War III. Anyways, that's all I got. Please share. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And God bless. Take care. Rainbows and unicorns. I'm out.